Good afternoon. Excited about our next opportunity in Atlanta. As I mentioned yesterday, really excited about the irregular week. In today's game, there's going to be irregular weeks, and so it's important that we find a rhythm within that, that we understand some of the, baseline things that we do from a readiness standpoint, that we're open to continually working from a preparation standpoint up into the 11th hour, utilizing all the things at our disposal, hotel ballrooms, et cetera. And so I'm excited about, guiding the group through this week from that standpoint, knowing what lies ahead. Also, it's just that time of the journey of team development where guys are stating the final case for themselves and we are putting the final touches on our mode of operation, if you will, from a coaching perspective. And so there's urgency with that. The way that we've done it in other games will continue. Those that are healthy are scheduled to play. We got an agenda with our units, talking about first unit, second unit, third unit, if you will. There's certain things that we want to see. We did a little planning for this, and so, the process of, strategic planning, teaching, learning, preparing, and then playing, we want to see that, their ability to execute planning relative to a game plan perspective. And within the groups, obviously, there's things that we want to see from individuals in terms of stating a case for themselves, in terms of dividing the labor up or being a component of the group. And so we'll play the first group until we get a level of satisfaction on both sides of the ball with those agendas. And then we'll move on to the second and then the third. And we'll go from there. By no means am I guaranteeing that everyone plays. Really, it's our ability to see what it is that we need to see before we move on. And I think such is life this time of year, man, as the road gets narrow. We're trying to make some decisions regarding 90, moving to 53. We respect that. Guys work to position themselves to participate in this game and then ultimately get an opportunity to do so. And so respect that, respect the road venue. Can't get enough work offensively in environments that are somewhat foreign to us and hostile, if you will, and some of the mechanics that go on with that. And so those are some of the reasons why we're excited. Again, leaving the light on for some of those guys who've been partial or limited participants in practice, like Larry Ogunjobi and Trey Norwood and Nate Herbig. We'll make decisions regarding their availability at the 11th hour. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Mike, is there a value to playing a game in a dome? Is it different playing in a dome as opposed to outdoor?
That's a variable that we care less about because it's fair. It's the same for both teams. But acknowledging we got some dome games, I think even early in this journey, 4 and 5 or something like that in the season, it's good to acclimate ourselves to environments that are different than our own. But as a collective, man, we've been in this venue, a very short time ago. And so I really think that, things such as that get less significant at this level. Guys have experiences and have been in quite a few experiences. My SEC championship boys call that dome home, and so I think there's a mentality that prevails based on the totality of their journey.
Mike, I think last year was the last year. First year you had 3 preseason games. Then you had a big span off 17 days. Does that almost force your hand to have to play these guys in this last game because there's just such a big space off?
I don't view it any differently than I did the 4-game schedule. I don't play game 3 in this sequence any different than I played game 3 in the 4-game sequence, to be quite honest with you.
Mike, have you seen some guys that might potentially be your special teams core turning that part of your game over?
I think that's some of the things to be determined, particularly in an environment like this one. It's reasonable to expect those that are vying to continue to warm up to that aspect of play. It's probably one of the most difficult things to simulate in a practice setting, the intensity and things that occur in that phase of the game. And so the stadium play is weighted heavily.
Mike, with 3 new players at inside linebacker, what have you seen so far that you like about those 3?
All 3 are varsity, and that's good. They have varying skill sets And I think in today's matchup football game, that's going to be helpful to us.
I'm sorry, Jerry. It's good.
I was just going to say, treating this game like Game 3 like you used to, how does that affect the younger guys or maybe the long shot guys not having a traditional Game 4?
You know, they've had the totality of this process to state a case for themselves, and so we're really transparent about this process. Practice tees you up positioning-wise to compete in games, and so everyone's been given a fair shake.
Is there any advantage to having this last preseason game so much earlier, maybe than before the cutoff day, versus having a Sunday game?
I don't care.
When we spoke with Terrell Austin yesterday, he spoke about the difficult decisions that are going to have to be made along the defensive front specifically. How tough are the calls going to be made there because of the quality that you have? And is this a good game to have them play against the Falcons because they are such a ground-oriented team, to get a look at that aspect of the game?
You know, we have no idea what they intend to do. We got no control over what Atlanta intends to do. That is their reputation. But regardless of who we're playing, I just think the 11th hour push is there in games such as these for those vying for a limited number of spots. And I'm thankful that we have tough decisions. That just means that we've had a good 90, and that's our goal, to bring the best 90 that we can into an environment and work them and provide them an opportunity to get better and show their skills and sort themselves out. And so there are going to be some tough decisions, not only in the front but in a lot of places. But that's a good thing, and that's a credit to the work that the guys have done through this process.
Mike, how has Elijah Riley done in that slot position? How would you characterize that competition?
It's been tight. Both guys have been above the line. Both guys have made splash plays, and so we'll continue to rotate them in this last opportunity, talking about he and Sully the way that we have in the most recent outing.
Would you like to have one guy at that spot, or are you comfortable mixing and matching?
I'd like a lot of things. But when you got red paint, man, you paint your barn red, man. We'll do whatever it is from a matchup perspective that gives us an advantage week in and week out to be successful. I just think that that's a function of today's game. My likes and dislikes are secondary.
The way this works out, there's 5 days between the last game and the cut-down day. Do you expect, you have practices in the middle, it's kind of awkward. Do you expect to wait for the cut-down day, or do you?
To be honest with you, man, I've been so singularly focused on this short week that I hadn't focused on the things on the other side of it, and I think that that's appropriate. I'd be doing these guys a disservice if I wasn't focused on this opportunity for them and preparing them for it.
Is there anything specifically that you're hoping to see in this third game, maybe from younger players? And, you know, although you guys have won the last two, does this third game really set the tone for the season?
I'm just interested in continual arrow pointed up, individually and collectively. That represents the preseason, that represents team development, that represents the journey that is the season. I think you always want to be a man on the rise or a collective on the rise, professionally speaking. That's why we have to earn it every day with our approach to business, our urgency, and our work.
Mike, how much more effective is play action passing when the run game is going well?
Naturally, yes. If it requires a lot to stop the run, then there's, less positioning to defend the pass. Kind of a, common sense equation.
Mike, you talked about wanting to see certain things from groups, teams. It seems like you've been switching your offense out kind of wholesale that way, first team, second team. The defense has been a little bit more mix and match. Just wondered what went into that.
First team all pros and 30-year-old corners I know more about. And so it's not about the guys oftentimes that I choose not to play. It's about the opportunity for others. Every rep that TJ doesn't take, I know he's first team all-pro caliber. It's an opportunity for Herbert to show his skills and get better, for example. Every time I don't play Cam Hayward, it's an opportunity for Leal and Benton and others. And so that's the mentality. My job is to provide these guys individually and collectively what it is they need. And some of those guys need less physical reps in an effort to be game ready. Their resumes prove that, and so I redistribute those reps to others.
When you talk about the first team offense, what's more important to you, quantity or quality?
Both. We need reps. There's growth associated with reps, but there's growth associated with good reps. And so, we want to eliminate negativity in our game.
You know a lot about Patrick Peterson, but playing that inside corner role is somewhat newer to him. Is that something you might want to take more of a look at in this game? Or before the
I'm comfortable with what I've seen. There won't be an additional emphasis in that regard in this game, no.
With Larry out last week, I think I remember this right, you had Montravis with, in the middle, in the nickel and dime situations as well. How's he coming in that regard? I mean, we know him as a nose, but how's he coming in that regard?
There's a rotation. When 3D linemen become 2, we generally rotate, and we've done that in the past, and we'll continue. Who goes first or second, I wouldn't read too much into it at this juncture.
Mike, I know you, excuse me, you have a plan for Najee to limit his work or touches. Do you expect him to get a few more carries this week, or do you want to?
We'll see. We'll see. It depends on my agenda.
Anyone else? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.